Now, here's the hosts of Top Story, KLIXcast and Jill Skeen.
I've got $100 smoking in my billfold. I know I ought to save it, but it's burning a hole right through my pocket and into my skin. Come Monday morning, I'll be broke again. It's finally Friday, I'm free again. I got my motor running for a wild weekend. It's finally Friday, I'm out of control. Forget the working blues and let the good time roll.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. George Jones, and good morning and welcome to Top Story 7360300. Hello, Jill.
Hello, Kelly.
Now I have a frog in my throat.
Well, I didn't cause it.
Benito was kind enough to bring me a big hot chocolate.
Oh, I was going to say he's not sick, is he? I thought you were
No,
going to say,
no,
what's
no,
he
no,
going to
no,
bring you?
No.
Well, he brought you a hot chocolate?
He brought me a big, giant hot chocolate, yes, and I
Out
drank that.
Out of the goodness of his heart?
He did. I know, and I drank
what's
it,
up?
and well, I told him I'd buy him lunch.
Okay.
I know, not really a fair trade, but that's kind of the way you got to work with Benito, you know. No, I'm just kidding. No.
Are you guys doing lunch?
No, not today.
Okay.
Too many things going on to wrap up the week.
That was nice. I'm sorry. Friday came here pretty quick. This was a fast week for me.
I don't know.
I don't know.
There's just no such thing as a fast week
It's
anymore.
a fast
it just
week.
doesn't seem like, unless you're on vacation, of course. Then it's like
It goes really
zip,
fast.
Yeah.
Zippity-doo-dah.
So coming up, we have Ella Donahue with a CSI update this morning at 8:20. At 8:30, Chick-fil-A is coming in to talk about Bras Across the Canyon, and they will be there at Bras Across the Canyon tomorrow.
They're one of the
It
sponsors.
is tomorrow, that's right, starting at noon.
They're going to pass out chicken sandwiches and
Yep.
coupons if they run out.
That's right. And I'll be there. I'm going to be there taking pictures for the event.
I still think you need to wear a bra.
Well, I don't know.
A big bra. Have it decorate. Have Connie decorate it for you. She's so
Yeah,
talented.
yeah, she
can
really is.
decorate a wreath. She can decorate your bra.
Speaking of that, my wife's kind of taken up knitting.
Oh, has she?
And she bought some brand new wooden knitting needles.
I see
Hasn't had 'em for like a
Mabel
week.
story coming on.
You are absolutely right.
What happened?
This morning on the cabinet, as I went to bed early last night, so this morning on the cabinet, a little pile of toothpicks with a note under it saying, "This is what Mabel did to my new knitting needles."
Connie should know better. Put them higher.
Mabel's revenge, she called it.
Mabel probably thought, Mommy, how nice you got me a new toy.
For those who don't know, Mabel is our 1-year-old Boston Terrier dog.
That's right. It is about a year because it was last Halloween. She was dressed up. You brought her in.
Yeah, that's right.
I haven't seen her in a year.
Yeah, she's grown, let me tell you.
Oh, and she's the love of your life.
Oh, man, her and Moby.
Moby still. Are they getting along okay?
Yeah, they get along okay.
They aren't.
Mabel wants to play with Moby, and she just rags him senseless. And all Moby wants to do is just lay and sleep. And so he gets so irritated at her. But at any rate, it's funny to watch.
Well, and tonight starts Yom Kippur, which is why I'm not going to be at Bras Across the Canyon. Day of Atonement, our holiest day, and you start fasting at sundown. No food or water for 24 hours.
All right.
So that should be a fun holiday.
At 8:40 this morning, we're going to be talking about school uniforms.
Yes. What do you guys think?
If you think they're a good thing or not. And I know what else it was.
What?
It was the cost of college.
Oh.
That's what I wanted to talk about. There was an excellent article this morning called "The Tuition Trap" in the Idaho Statesman. And it goes through it just to kind of briefly tell the story here. Maybe the reason our college graduates aren't going on to college is because it costs so stinking much. And actually, we're going to talk about that coming up at 8:40, right here on Top Story. At 9 o'clock, there's been a lot of people concerned about this Ebola thing, about the Enterovirus, so we called in the expert. We have Cheryl Becker, who's a public health nurse from the CSI, from the South Central Public Health District, and she will be here at 9 o'clock to talk about that, answer any questions you might have. I've known Cheryl. She's been in that position for probably 30 years. She knows everything there is to know about that stuff. I've known her for that period of time.
It's hit
and I really
almost
respect her
every state.
decision.
A few states haven't been hit. I think 43 states maybe with the Enterovirus.
Yeah.
very scary. Kids have died, paralysis.
I know.
And it's definitely in Idaho, so
Absolutely.
It's a big concern, and we thought we'd.
We do have some news to cover here, but you know what? We haven't had Open Line Friday for a while, so we'll kind of throw that in there too. And we have a caller. Top story. You're on the air. Good morning.
Good morning. All the Seinfeld fans will know all about this.
I love Seinfeld.
George Costanza's father invented the male bra.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
It's called the bro.
The bro.
So, Kelly, you can wear one.
Yeah.
It's okay. You can wear the bro.
There you go. So when people say, hey, I like your bra, I'll say, no, it's a bro.
That's right.
Yeah, okay.
I think you should come out and decorate your bro, and you guys should come out and put it across the canyon.
Well, if Kelly will, I will.
Kelly, you've been challenged.
Well, I'll tell you what, I can't make any promises. How's that? I'll have a camera with me, and the bro will get in the way of my camera.
I don't think so. Our bros don't. Our bras don't get in the way of that stuff.
Your whatches?
Our bras don't. Your bro shouldn't. Walk a mile in someone's shoes. Wear a bra.
Walk a mile in someone's bra?
Yes.
Years and years and years ago, I saw this black and white movie. It was I don't even remember the actor, but it was about a brassiere factory. But that was from back in the day when, that was one of the things you just didn't talk about. You just didn't mention. So the theme of the whole show was the head of this factory trying to get people to call it a braja. Not a bra.
I don't
it's
like
a
that
braja.
name. Every time you say it,
For
it's so
brassiere.
irritating.
It's kind of a French
know.
spelling for brassiere. Braja.
And how did that go over?
I don't even remember. It's been so long. I just remember that aspect of it. So ever since then, I've called them brajas. Okay.
Now we know the origin of that. Thank you.
Anyway, okay, we do have some news this morning, and I have to apologize because I was going to have a little short segment on the show once a week.
Oh, yeah.
About a hacking somewhere.
Hack of the week.
The hack of the week. The hack of the week.
It was going to be sponsored by what? An identity theft company.
And we had the one earlier this week about the Albertson SuperValue stores. I don't remember 40-some million people were hacked. And so I thought, well, that'll do us till next week, but I was wrong. There's been another one, and this one is even bigger.
It's getting to be a bigger sponsorship segment here. I think sales should
sales should jump on
heed.
This.
Okay.
J.P. Morgan said Thursday that cyber criminals gathered information on more than 80 million account holders as part of a massive bank hack this summer. The revelation follows news back in August that hackers had infiltrated 7 of the country's largest banks using sophisticated malware to burrow into their computer systems and manipulate records. At J.P. Morgan, the hackers got contact information for 76 million households and 7 million small businesses, including names, addresses, phone numbers, and email addresses, as well as internal J.P. Morgan Chase information relating to such users. But the bank said that the hackers did not get any account information, account numbers, user IDs, dates of birth, or social security numbers, and that it hasn't seen any unusual customer fraud related to this incident. If that's a silver lining to this, I guess. But anyway, so another hacking, and we had a.
How does that make you feel? Even though they haven't had those,
makes me feel
got your
vulnerable.
Name, your address, your phone number, your email.
Yeah.
So now they can send you these things that say your Yahoo email is going to be suspended. Like, I really mean it this time. I almost laugh now every time I get those.
Something happened to my email about 6 weeks ago, because I very rarely got any kind of scam mail like that. And something happened, and all of a sudden I just get this flood of trash junk emails. And I don't know. I must have gotten hacked somewhere down the road.
Maybe subscribe
and
to
I haven't got a stop to it yet. So I don't know.
When I look in the spam file, I'm like, you've got to be kidding. A lot of it's in, I don't know what language it's in. It looks like it's Chinese or something.
Yeah.
Seriously, it's crazy. But you know what? Hack of the week, it's getting to be a regular.
Oh.
Seriously, this could be a sponsored segment.
It very well could. Speaking of the Ebola and Enterovirus thing that's going on, the owner of an industrial surplus store near Boise
I know.
Says he's nearly sold out of respirator masks after a disaster preparedness website linked to his store in a post about preparing for an Ebola outbreak. John Schiff, the owner of the Ruseum in Garden City, normally sells 1 or 2 boxes of the particulate respirator masks in a week. But starting Tuesday, orders from his online store jumped. Schiff says his stock of 110 boxes was cleaned out, and he expects his last 5 boxes to be gone by today.
Oh, no. What are we to do? I had to laugh. A mask does not help you. I mean,
I know.
It's not airborne.
It's federal authorities announced Tuesday that a man who recently spent time in Liberia had been diagnosed with Ebola at a Texas hospital. You know about that. Officials are monitoring 100 people who had contact with this guy. They say the virus only spreads through direct contact with bodily fluids. So apparently, a mask is not going to help any.
And the horrible thing is his family, his sister, his nephews are quarantined in their apartment for 21 days with still the sheets and the towels and the stuff that he used. They're like, and they haven't picked it up. They haven't removed it. Honestly, I would put it out the front door, and these people
let them deal with it.
Well, seriously, these people are now supposed to be stuck in a room with stuff that is contaminated.
And what's more,
how do you not get it?
I don't know if you saw this story or not. I think I sent you a link to it. But what happened was there was an outfit that came yesterday to go in and sanitize the room and clean this out. It's a hazardous material site right now. And so this outfit that handles hazmat stuff came to clean it, but the officials there turned them away because they didn't have the proper permits to transport the stuff on Texas highways. So they sent them away.
If they're hazmat unit, they must transport some hazmat stuff.
That
doesn't make sense.
But apparently not diseased stuff.
Here's a news flash. Take it to a dumpster, light it on fire.
Yeah.
Do you know?
Yes,
okay, it's in a bag. Just burn it. You don't even have to transport it.
So now they're waiting for the permit process through the Texas Department of Transportation. And I guess they're hoping that they'll have it today, so then they can finally go in and
meanwhile,
sanitize
these people are quarantined in an apartment with the virus. Does that make sense? Not to mention, this guy came and visited his girlfriend and was all over her 5 kids.
Yeah,
and
I don't know. This is weird.
I'm sorry.
Got time for a quick call.
Terrible.
Top story. You're on the air. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. I would say that anybody that actually thinks J.P. Morgan was hacked, I've got a bridge for you. And I would say, I haven't heard Gerald Celente comment on this, but considering what he's gone through with these banks and everything, I'd say he's probably got a bridge to sell you to.
But who was that? He's a
commentator, economic commentator from New York, I think.
Okay. I didn't hear him say the name.
I don't know.
Whatever.
So in other words, maybe it's not a hack from hackers.
I'm sure it's a conspirity.
Could be.
It's probably the government or Obama. Is that what this guy's saying?
Now
you
got it. Now you got it there, Jill. You got it.
There you go.
7360300 is the number to call. Welcome back here to Top Story. We have Ella Donahue coming up with a CSI update. But before we get to Ella, just wanted to mention that the irrigation season is kind of winding down now. So for next season, you might want to consider this new Certiset. It's new technology. This is cutting-edge technology stuff. It's called Certiset from Far More of Idaho. No more moving pipes, no borders to spray around the field. You're able to grow and harvest every square inch of your field. You need to ask the folks at Far More of Idaho about Certiset. They can explain it to you and how it works and what it is. Give them a call at 324-3341, or you can get them online at farmoreofidaho.com. Ella, good morning. How are you today?
Ella.
Good morning. How are you guys?
Back.
Thank you. Good to be back.
Seems like you were just here, right?
I know, right? Thank goodness it's Friday, though.
Did your parents name you after Ella Fitzgerald by any chance?
No. Actually, it was my great-grandmother, and then my middle name is her best friend's name, so it's Ella Marie.
Ella Marie. That was nice.
Yeah, Ella Marie Donahue. Actually, that kind of sounds like a movie star name.
I know, right? So I should become famous. So maybe my little thing with CSI now, my PR, it'll just move.
That's
your
right.
Radio
this is your
here.
first step to stardom. So when you make it big, remember the little people who helped you get there. Okay?
Oh, yes, for sure.
Don't forget us, Ella.
So what's going on at CSI?
Well, everyone's favorite event, the Corn Maze, is opening tonight from 5 to 10 p.m. And it's going to be open through all of Halloween, until Halloween, and the day of Halloween. November 1st, it will be closed.
Oh, okay.
And so, I might have to go this year. It looks pretty cool.
It does. You should go. And if you want, go tonight. Just take the whole radio station. Everybody gets in for $5 and get some free
Actually,
schwan.
I can't. It's our Jewish holiday starts tonight. Sorry. We don't have a huge Jewish population out here, but the other ones can go. Anyway.
But it's $5 tonight for a group of 4, and it's going to be $3 normally, and then there's going to be Schwann's ice cream.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Now you have a hook.
Oh.
Kelly might actually go now.
And then for the little ones, there's going to be free glow sticks that they can run around in the corn maze with.
That'll be fun. Can I have a glow stick too if I come?
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure you can get one.
Are those edible?
I'm just a child at heart. I really am.
Well, this should be a lot of fun. And all the money goes to?
The Horticulture Club. They're putting it on, and they will have hamburgers and hot dogs and other specials throughout the month. And then if you want, watch for the specials for each week, because each week it should be different.
Oh, they might have a different food thing they're selling? Is that what you're talking about, or different?
Yes, it might be. That's what.
Okay.
Very cool. What else is going on?
Well, the CSIU pick'em is still going to be going on until mid-October. They still have raspberries, and you can pick until dusk on Mondays and Wednesdays. They still have eggplant, peppers, squash, some Concord grapes, and tomatoes and pumpkins.
Wow.
All for just 75 cents a pound.
That's a bargain.
And that's just Monday and Wednesdays?
If you want more information, you can call Dawn at 732-6401. I'm not positive, but I do know that it's on across North College Road. You look at the Expo Center, and then right across from the Expo Center, there is the garden.
It's behind the farmer's market.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've been in there before.
And have you picked them?
Yeah. No, but I've been in there before.
Would
We
you
went
get
to
lost
the
or
farmer's
something?
market
Yeah.
one time, and we went around back and kind of took a look. Don't take much to get me lost. Now, we were talking to Sergeant Keith Thompson with the ISP yesterday, and he was telling us about this Just Drive event coming up at CSI. I see you got that down here on your list.
Yes, it is also going to be going on from tomorrow morning till noon, from 9 to noon. And then the Idaho State Police, Idaho Power, and other sponsors are putting it on. And it's an obstacle course that they're going to set up in the parking lot between the Harrett Center and the Canyon Building on North College Road. Volunteers will try to drive safely through the course while texting. And then KTFT television will be televising some of the drivers. Everyone is welcome to try, and I think it's very important that people should know that texting and driving is not good.
Are they going to have a deer or anything on the obstacle course? Because, that happens a lot where I live.
No,
Put a little kitten, a
like
little
the local dog
dog
club is going to come down and turn their dogs loose.
Yeah, seriously. Pay attention.
Okay, so
that
what
actually
else?
sounds quite interesting.
It does, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It'll be fun to see what happens.
The Hot Sardines are going to be kicking off the Arts on Tour season next Wednesday night at 7:30, and tickets are $22 each and $10 for students.
Okay.
What are the Hot Sardines?
They are a group that play piano, and it's kind of like a Louisiana kick, I think, is what I've been explained
blues?
to. Kind of. It's a blues and...
Jazz?
Yeah. I think they also do tap dancing.
Is this the tap dancing group?
I think so.
Ella, a former tap dancer, you should know this.
I know. I am going to go check them out if that means.
Does the Hot Sardines sound like it sounds like a tap dance group? Why not?
Sounds like a tap dancing little fishy group.
Get a tap dance over Hot Sardines.
We got a total eclipse of the moon coming up again, don't we? What do they call it? Blood moon?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's going to be early next Wednesday morning. It starts at 2:15 and ends at 7:30. And the moon will be totally dark from 4:25 to 5:25. If you don't want to stay up the whole time, just hit those 2 marks and watch the total darkness.
We actually might be able to because we usually get up around this time.
Yeah, because I get up at 4:30 and I'm headed to work about 5. So.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Now, we'll have Chris Anderson in Monday,
I
right?
believe,
so he'll be able to tell us a little more about this, too.
Yeah,
He'll
that
be
should be
excited
great.
about that.
And a plus is the Centennial Observatory at the Harrett Center will be open for a free viewing at this time.
Oh, that would be
Chris
fascinating.
might be on time that day then.
Yeah. Oh, he's always
been
on
up
time.
at 4.
He's always on
Yeah,
time.
he is.
All right, well, very good. So that's the stuff going on at CSI.
So the corn maze tonight, 5 to 10.
Yes, take your friends and family.
Groups of 4, $5. What a bargain.
Oh, yeah.
I thought you guys were trying to make money.
Well, hopefully enough people will come.
Well, thanks, Ella. We'll see you next time.
Thanks,
Yes,
Ella.
thank
Have
you.
fun.
We have barrages across the canyon coming up, and we'll be talking to the folks from Chick-fil-A who will be there tomorrow. That's coming up next here on Top Story. Then we're going to talk about the cost of education. 7360300, always the number to call. Welcome back here to Top Story. We have Bill Estueta with us this morning from Chick-fil-A. Good morning, Bill.
Good morning.
Good morning. Great morning this morning.
I never get to see you. You're in Rotary, but I only see you here.
I
we
know,
miss you.
I know. Thank you.
Yes.
Have you been wearing a pink shirt all week long for this?
You know, I do wash my shirt, so I haven't been wearing this shirt all week, but I did actually wear this shirt today because of the special event that we have going on tomorrow.
Yeah, yes, Bras Across the Canyon, or for the more proper, it's Barajas Across the Canyon.
For the more annoying word, whatever. So what's Chick-fil-A's part in this, and why did you decide to get involved?
Well, what a great event for the community, and it tells a lot about a community like ours when an event like this is going on. But, you know, October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and with it being the month, we are kicking off the month here Saturday with this Bras Across the Canyon, which is really an event about getting early detection out there for breast cancer. And that has been probably the leading reason why breast cancer results have actually decreased and breast cancer deaths for women has decreased. And this funds and the funds raised will all go towards screening and detecting, especially for our underinsured and for our lower incomes who can't really afford to get those services as easily. So what a great event. We're supporting it by providing free chicken sandwiches to everyone who attends the event. And this, I think, will just help raise the awareness. And the more we raise the awareness, the more funds we can raise, the more we can help beat this horrific cancer.
Yeah.
Because as I was mentioning yesterday, it used to be kind of a death sentence when you found out you had breast cancer, and now it's kind of a major inconvenience, but it's like, I think 90% survival rate or something like that. It's just amazing. Really tremendous.
It is just amazing, the results that we've seen. And the last area I think, you know, that we really have to touch is the underprivileged, you know. And this community I've seen, and I've only been part of the community for 2 years, but I've just been blown away with how as a community we come together and we really support each other. And it's a true sense of community when you have folks who are actively doing things like this Bras Across the Canyon in order to help our fellow members in the communities get that detection so that we can keep moms with their sons and daughters, you know, wives with their husbands.
It's so true, yeah.
It's great.
And especially when people don't have health insurance and they didn't expand Medicaid, those are the people that are dropping through the cracks. So it's great that this is helping those people still get mammograms because
that's
affects
what cures
everyone.
it. Yeah, you know, it's no cure, but they can actually they can kill it. They can beat it. You know, and like you said, it's not an easy process, but once you know, you can conquer it.
You can
sure, absolutely. And then psychologically, that has a lot to do with it too. You know, because if you find out you have it and you know that there's hope, that's part of the battle right there.
Yeah.
If you find out you have it and there's no hope, then you're just as good as gone at that point. So.
Definitely. And that early detection and catching in the early stages is the key. And that's what's so awesome about this event. So we got to get out there and support it. Get out there, get your free chicken sandwich. I always joke at the restaurant, I said, the only thing that tastes better than our chicken sandwiches are the free chicken sandwiches.
Yeah.
And this is an opportunity to get the best tasting sandwich you ever could because it's free. Get out there 12 to 3, I think is the event.
Yep.
We'll be serving sandwiches the whole time. I've got my team on call, and I'm hoping we're stressing them out so bad, and that we're got the whole team stressed out in terms of getting these sandwiches out to the canyon because we'll have so many folks out there.
Yeah.
So for people who've never had your famous free chicken sandwich, what do you guys do? Is it breaded? Is it grilled? Or what's special about Chick-fil-A sandwich, if you want to tell us?
I think if you've had Chick-fil-A food before, I think the biggest thing is that we make everything from scratch fresh. So it's, you know, we start with a fresh whole chicken breast, and we put it in a milk wash, we bread it, but we have a pressure fryer that actually keeps the pressure in while it's frying in peanut oil, and it's just amazing the amount of it keeps it really juicy, delicious, and then we do a little buttered bun, and we butter the bun before we toast it so it gets that caramelization like you get on a nice grilled cheese sandwich. But and that really those two things together with a couple of pickles, it's just a great sandwich.
Just the best.
So, yeah, it's
I'm
so
glad
good.
Bill has such passion. That's great.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
it's pretty amazing. sandwiches and stuff.
And if for some reason you don't have enough sandwiches, you are passing out coupons.
Yeah, we will
your
do
staff
that.
hasn't worked hard enough.
Yeah, I think that we're in place that we can do it. We're hoping to give out 1,000 sandwiches. That's what we're hoping.
Awesome.
But we do have our backup because I'm like, all right, this coupon is a free sandwich. So that's my backup plan, so I can sleep well tonight, because otherwise I don't think I'd sleep tonight. I'd be so worried about this event tomorrow. But we need to get me and my folks really stressed out about this. I'd like to have 2,000 sandwiches given away. It'd be great.
That would be great.
Wow.
Yeah, get them all on the bridge at the same time.
Well, Kelly will be there, so they will be eating, right?
I'll be there taking pictures and eating chicken sandwiches.
All right, it's one per person, just so you know.
Oh, darn, now you just ruined it for me. I'm just getting warmed up after 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Well, Bill, I think it's great that you guys are involving yourself in the community. You've been a great partner since you've been in Twin, so thank you.
Thank you. It's really my pleasure. I mean, I've been blown away by the community, and I feel like we just do a little part. If we can give out a couple of sandwiches, that's one thing. But to all the people out there that give their time, which is to me the most precious resource that we have, God bless you.
Bill Espleta from Chick-fil-A. Thank you, sir. We'll see you there tomorrow. This is Top Story. We'll be right back. 736-0300, the number to call on Top Story. Welcome back. We're going to be talking about the high cost of higher education and school uniforms here in just a moment. But first, just wanted to tell you it's chainsaw season time.
Because it's Halloween.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
It's just chainsaw season every fall, because the leaves start falling off and you decide that you're going to get that tree out of the backyard because it's old and dead or produces too many leaves or something or other, or you got to go to the hills and come back with a bunch of firewood. Anyway, you know why you need a chainsaw. They got them at Clearwater Power Equipment, Echo Chainsaws, which has the best warranty in the business, 5-year residential, 2-year commercial. If you need a leaf blower, because yes, it is that time of year, and I've noticed a lot of leaves out at Poverty Flats where I live, a lot of leaves falling from the trees. What am I going to do with those leaves? How about a leaf blower from Clearwater Power Equipment? Check it out. They are at 252 Washington Street or at 734-7767. Won't be mowing your lawn too many more times. Got a big old lawnmower sitting there. Don't know what to do with it. They'll come and pick it up and store it for you for the winter. Call them and ask them about that, and they'll help you out. Clearwater Power Equipment. Tell them that we sent you. There is an excellent article this morning in the Idaho Statesman by Bill Roberts. It's called Tuition Trap. If you go to the Idaho Statesman online, you may have to do a search for it, because I think it was put up yesterday and now it's dropped down because other stuff has replaced it. But it is a long article, and it has, I pulled out some excerpts from it here that I think make my point. We've been talking about why in the world we have so many kids, so many graduates in the state of Idaho who don't go on to college. And they say, well, they're not prepared, they're this, they're that, da-da-da-da. And I wonder if anybody has ever bothered to ask the kids or ask the parents, why aren't the kids going on to college?
Well, let's not discount those other things, because those things are real.
Understood,
so it's
yes,
not like
understood.
That's just a myth.
But I have never heard... Really, I've never heard any of these so-called experts come back and say, well, it costs a lot of money to go to college now. And with the economic situation that we've had in Idaho, maybe that plays a bigger part than what we thought. For instance, some excerpts from this story in the Idaho Statesman today. For decades, nothing, not the State Board of Education, not the legislature, not even the Great Recession, has stopped the relentless rise in the cost of education, and he's talking specifically about Boise State. And I'm not picking on Boise State. This is just an example of institutions of higher learning. Tuition and fees have climbed 348% since 1993, a period when the cost of living rose 65%. Tuition and fees at other Idaho public universities soared too. At the University of Idaho, in-state undergraduate tuition and fees have risen even more than Boise State, 375% since 1993. Idaho isn't alone. Across the country, public colleges have added costs to tuition and fees as expenses have mushroomed and the number of students going to schools has grown. Legislative appropriations have not grown at the same pace. Tuition and fees accounted for 32% of the general education dollars that the school received in 2004. By 2013, the latest numbers available, it was 51%. Rising costs have driven some students from Boise State's campus. Its surveys taken by just more than 1,000 students who left the university between 2009 and 2011, one-third cited work and financial concerns as reasons for not returning to school. Most said they couldn't afford to continue. At Boise State, the squeeze in state support for higher education is compounded by ambitions to make the school bigger and better. Among the biggest causes of its rising cost of attendance are the explosion in campus construction, the creation of new programs, and increases in hiring. These reflect the university's effort to become a more prestigious research university befitting a sophisticated city. The changes have left Boise State's origins as a low-cost junior college little more than a historical footnote. In 2009, the College of Western Idaho became the Treasure Valley's community college, offering vocational education in freshman and sophomore level classes for about half the price of Boise State. Enrollment at CWI ballooned from 1,200 to nearly 10,000 in 6 years. Beginning in 2006, Boise State levied what it called a strategic facilities fee on students to back construction bonds for new buildings. The cost, $25 per semester.
That doesn't sound like much.
No. The fee has since risen to $260 per semester.
That's getting higher.
$520 a year, which is 8% of the 2014-2015 tuition and fees for in-state undergraduates. School officials have said the fee could rise to $300 per semester. When the fee first came up, there was little dissent.
Well, $25 semester isn't much.
Yeah, that's not bad, but look at it now. So anyway, this is just an example of what appears to me, because I've had it in the back of my head all the time where we talk to politicians, we talk to school officials, and they say, Idaho is so far behind in kids going on to college, and it's a political answer, it's a this answer, it's a that answer. Maybe they just can't afford it. Maybe it's that simple.
Well, I'm sure that could be. And with our wages being some of the lowest in the country, if you're making a minimum wage job, making $15,000 a year, $15,080 a year, how are you saving for your kids' education? But yeah, that's an aspect. It's an aspect in every state. And, the tuition out here is quite a bit lower than some other colleges out east.
Oh, yeah.
I think my nephew went to George Washington. Honestly, I think the tuition was $50,000 a year. He got $6,000, and because he got good grades or whatever, they'll mark that off tuition. But that's just tuition. So it's, it is a lot. And the other thing that's a problem is our Congress voted down having the chance for these students to refinance the interest rates on their student loans.
Well, but
and
okay.
I'm sorry, you could help. You could help those kids.
Before you go there, though,
That's true, though.
Now you're talking about handling, just keeping things the way they are and just handling the debt better. What about decreasing some of these fees that you have to pay for a good education? I mean, there are ways on the other end to handle it, and basically that's if somebody's already got a lot of debt that's already accrued. But what about from this point on? I mean, I understand that running these institutions of higher learning are expensive. I understand that. And Bob Custra, the head of Boise State, said on one of the little videos in this article that a lot of it has to do with federal regulation, and he brought up the point about the NJCAA rules and regulations. He says that is a small office now with several employees. Remember when Boise State got in trouble for not
the NCAA. I thought you said what did
I
you
did.
say?
I said the NJC, which is the junior college. This is the NCAA.
Yeah.
They got in trouble, so they had to hire somebody under federal regulation. There's federal regulation.
Okay.
Now you got to hire somebody to do that.
That's not boosting everyone's tuition. You're hiring one person, two person.
It's not, though. No, it's not. But that's a small part of it, though. It's more regulation here. You got this one here. You got this one over there. And plus, he said that is now a small office. He says, who knows what it's going to be in the future. So apparently, the guy that they hired now has some assistants having to keep them
but
up on this too.
Yeah, but you know what? They're also making a fortune on their football program now, and the bigger they get, and they want to get bigger, and they're building more
but it's
buildings.
Still part of the deal.
Of course, but I mean the people in the NCAA, their little office isn't what driving the costs here. They're doing buildings. They want to do bigger football program. They want to be in bigger divisions, which means they have to have bigger, stadiums.
Understood.
So
Understood.
you know what? Yeah, there is cost to college. Is it? I think Idaho's on the lower end for college costs in this country.
It probably is.
It is.
But it's still, I think.
But
I think getting down to where the rubber
money.
meets the road, I think a lot of kids just can't afford it, and their parents can't afford to send them to college anymore. I think that's the bottom line.
I don't think that's the driving factor, though.
Well, I think it's a huge part of it.
Maybe
7360300. Top story. You're on the air. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. The government gives out grants to the students to go to college, so the college ups their fees, and it just goes on and on. College is overrated, I'm sorry. There's a lot of jobs that do not require college, but in Idaho and some places, these employers require college, but they pay them high school wages. And it's ridiculous. We need a union in this state, for one thing, and there's a lot of issues on the table here where I do believe in higher learning. I believe in vocational training as well.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and I think the vocational training, I think those also are becoming more expensive all the time. And you are right. There are employers who want a college degree, but they want to pay high school wages.
I mean, the wages out here are bad. And you hear it from everywhere. I mean, we were losing teachers. People are going to other neighboring states where prices are higher, minimum wage is higher, But no, we're going to keep with our philosophy that these are just entry-level jobs. Well, you know what? They aren't. And so when you're subsidizing employers' workforce, look at what's happening in the state. There's a lot of factors to this.
I understand that. But
you can't afford your kids to go to college when you're making minimum wage.
Agreed. But even that is not what's causing the price of the education to go higher.
Yeah, it's the little NCAA office.
Well, no.
I'm sorry, for him to even mention that.
It's part of these little, you got a little bit here and a little bit there, and pretty soon you're talking about real money, 7360300. Top story, you're on the air.
Are you guys kidding? I mean, look at it. We have the perfect example of why college is getting ridiculously expensive. And the biggest problem is the colleges themselves. You look at CSI; they just paid out $150,000 to a coach that didn't earn it. The way that they were funding buildings up through the Star Corporation, one person grants under the bid, a little bit of hey buddy, you're the one who gets to build.
Mm-hmm.
You don't think that it's like that at BSU or Harvard or Stanford or anywhere else?
Yeah, I'm
These
sure
people,
it probably is.
I mean seriously. And then look at Twin Falls. I remember everybody raising this huge stink about this Coach Fox and his big payout, and I haven't heard anything about it in like 2 weeks now. And we're going to totally forget it. We're going to give him a pass, just like we always do, because God forbid we talk about CSI's basketball program. And let's talk about that for a second. You want to talk about a waste of money? Look at, you got all these kids you're bringing in on scholarships. None of them stay in the area. They're all moving on, wanting to play pro ball. They all move on to Division I schools. They don't come back here and work. They don't benefit the community. And we sit here and we can't give those 30, 40 scholarships out to other people. If CSI wants to have a basketball program and all the people around here love basketball so much, let the frickin' boosters support it and quit putting it on the backs of these tuition raises on the students.
You know what else would be interesting is to find out how many of the players who are getting these scholarships are actually local kids too.
Yeah, well, I go to CSI about 4 times a week at night and work out, and I can tell you that these kids are not from around Twin Falls. None of them are from the area, and the Stars certainly aren't.
But to be fair, it's only a 2-year college. They only can play basketball here for 2 years. It's an associate's degree. If you wanted to continue your education, you have to leave. If you want to play basketball somewhere else, they probably are transferring out. You can only stay here 2 years.
Yeah, that's a good point too.
You know, I mean, you're not going to.
Should we make CSI a 4-year college? You can get a lot of 4-year degrees at CSI because of the
But you
other
only have a 2-year basketball program.
Well, that's true.
So, I mean, yeah, of course you're going to leave. If you're going to go anywhere and you want a bachelor's degree or play for another school or a higher division school, of course you have to leave.
Well,
but the basketball program does drive money for CSI to pay out their coaches and, I don't know, everything else they're doing.
Top story, you're on the air.
Hi, folks. How are you doing?
Good.
Great. How are you?
Just right quick, I think the bottom line goes back into the home. I've been working with youth for numbers of years, and I think the thing that is destroying the education from the undercurrent that you don't talk about is the divorce in the family. It is night and day with the kids that I work with. You can tell those that have parents that stay together, that work with their kids. They've been reading to them since they've been little. You know, we've heard. I've heard clear back when I was in school, back in the years with you, Kelly, that the third graders were behind and all this stuff. Well, it's always been going on.
But do you think that's what's making the cost of college go higher, though?
Oh no.
Yeah,
but like I said, and the other thing, you're never going to finance Idaho unless you get serious. Like I got family in Wyoming that teach. They wanted to stay here in Idaho, but they went there to teach, and it's because their economy is driven by energy. They got a serious energy program. That whole oil companies over there in Wyoming pay for all the education going on there.
Wow, that's you know what? Got to cut you off. We got to take a break here. Thanks for your comments.
Thank you.
We got the news from the Fox Radio News Network. Cheryl Becker from the CSI. Did it again. Southern Idaho Public Health District will be up next hour. South Central Public Health District next hour. Talk about Ebola and Enterovirus and all that other bad stuff that is out there and wants to get us. That's coming up next. Hey, welcome back to Top Story. 736-0300 is the number to call. And welcome back, Jill.
Thanks, Cal. Same to you.
We're like 44 right now. So it's a lot higher than that here in the room, too.
It does get hotter in here. I don't know why.
All this
could it be some hot air coming from someone?
It could be, Jill. I've always told you that, you know.
I don't know. We'll ask Cheryl. She's the health expert.
That's right.
Where's this hot air coming from?
Cheryl Becker is with us from the South Central Public Health District. All morning long I've been trying to put you with the CSI Public Health District, but that doesn't work. So anyway, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Welcome.
Whenever we have a situation like this, and it becomes a public health concern, I always think of you because I know you've been in this business, I guess, for lack of a better word. For how long have you been the public health nurse here in Twin?
It will be 34 years here in just about 10 days.
Wow.
But who's counting?
Yeah. But who's counting? 34 years.
I'm sure it seems just like, what, yesterday, Cheryl? Or does it seem like 34 years?
Don't know where the years went.
Well, and Cheryl and I knew each other before you even went to work for the health department. So you just went there and stayed, didn't you?
Yep, and you were the accompanist at my wedding 2 weeks after I started there, so yeah.
I was.
You must have like the shortest resume in history.
Yeah.
One job.
Went to college, went to work for public health, and there you are.
No, actually, I worked at the hospital for a year and a half.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah,
two entries.
There we go.
Great.
Well, at any rate, we got this Ebola situation. We've got the Enterovirus, which is in Idaho and many other states. So let's just start with the Ebola, because when you get in a conversation with somebody during the course of the day, this thing usually comes into the conversation. So people are concerned about it. So with Ebola being in this hospital in Texas, and with kind of the fumbling that went on when they finally figured out, gee, this guy has Ebola, after apparently the ER nurse told him that, apparently it's no big deal here. Take these pills and go home.
Didn't tell anyone else that he said he was from Liberia.
Yeah, so how concerned should we here in Idaho be?
We need to get the proper information out, and that's what we've been doing, giving the proper information to the hospitals, all of the healthcare workers. The first thing you need to do is ask that person about their travel history.
Are you currently doing this now in Twin? Are you in preparation of this?
We've given information several times to all of the healthcare providers. That has gone out throughout the state and actually throughout the nation.
Okay.
Everyone that is in public health is encouraged to get that information into the healthcare workers, so that when you have an individual, we're 24 hours away from any country. You know, you can get on a plane and go anywhere you want to. So what we need to do is educate the healthcare workers that if you have someone come in with those, and it's flu-like symptoms, high fever, headaches, abdominal pain, diarrhea, vomiting,
blood, bleeding.
Yeah. If you have those kinds of symptoms, it may be, who knows what it is. You'll do what you can to do some evaluation and find out a cause. But you must ask about that travel history. And if they've been to a place like Liberia, then the bells and whistles need to go off, and you need to be taking the proper precautions and looking into whether that is a case of Ebola or not. But if the person has never been outside the United States, then you start looking at other potential causes.
I mean, this man came from Liberia.
Mm-hmm.
He also knew he was helping someone who had Ebola. I really think that, he had some issues that he should have been more forthright.
And, that's unfortunate that happened. But the information is out there. Everything is in place. The airlines are asking. And as you leave these countries, you're asked, did you have contact with an individual who had this disease? Now, that can be circumvented. You see this individual that came here. And as we see these individuals in a healthcare institution, you need to ask, is there a travel history? So that we can do the right thing, do the proper precautions.
Are they informing these people of the different countries that are, have it in case, if someone says Liberia and you're like, oh, okay, where's that? I mean, are they listing the countries?
There's lists out
like
there.
Like Sierra Leone and
There
Liberia.
are lists out there. And if you don't know where these countries are, you say, have you been outside the United States? They can say, I've been to Africa. And that's known to be the country where, so, that's the continent where you have this particular infection. If the nurse doesn't know where Sierra Leone is, or you don't know where Liberia is, you know where Africa is, and you can say to somebody, now, is this one of the countries in Africa that has it? You can do a little more investigation. It doesn't hurt to be more cautious.
I agree. I agree with everything you say. Yeah,
so,
like, come on.
You act appropriately. And this, no matter what infection you have, it talks about universal precautions. Being careful, washing your hands. That's the most important thing that anybody can do. Wash your hands. Stay away from sick people. If you're sick yourself, stay away from others. But washing your hands, everybody touches your face. You don't wash your hands, you touch your face. That virus, bacteria could get into your nose, eyes, mouth. You're infected.
Well, that's kind of how we catch a cold, isn't it?
That's how you catch a cold. You cough on your hand, you handle the doorknob. The next person handles the doorknob. You come back, you scratch your nose, you scratch your eye. That mucous membrane, moist mucous membrane, takes that virus, you're infected. That's where the colds come from all winter.
But with Ebola, you can't catch it unless someone's symptomatic. So the fact that he was around people when he didn't show symptoms, chances are those people will be okay, is what they're telling people.
That's correct. And there is a period of time that a person is infectious. And before we got on, we talked about what's in vogue now is contact tracers. I've been one for over 30 years. You look at the disease. You make sure the disease is confirmed.
What is a contact tracer for people who aren't familiar with that?
A contact tracer is a person who's looking at the disease and the situation around the disease to try to control. You are tracing or looking into that particular person's activities, movements, looking at the disease itself, knowing what is contagious about the disease, how it gets transmitted, and then looking at that person themselves. When could they have transmitted and how could they have transmitted it? If you look at something like hepatitis A, it's spread what we call fecal oral route. Somebody didn't wash their hands after they use the restroom. They come back and they handle uncooked food. Then they feed it to somebody else. That's how that is transmitted.
It's disgusting.
It's disgusting, but you know exactly if that person has hepatitis A, they are infectious around the time that they turn yellow. A certain number of days before they turn yellow and a certain number of days after they turn yellow. So when I interview that person, I know when they turned yellow. I know that for these weeks around that time, I know how it is transmitted. So I can then interview that person. I know the period of time. I know how it is transmitted. I can ask them, did you serve food? Did you cook food? What did you do? If they just stayed home, didn't go anywhere, I don't need to look for anybody.
Yeah.
But now with the Ebola, we know that it is transmitted blood and body fluids. when did you become symptomatic? We know when a person is infectious when they have Ebola, so we look at when was that point in time with this person. Go back the number of days that we know when it is transmitted.
So now we have like the three, they were the 911, 911 emergency personnel, like in the ambulance. Okay, so now this guy definitely, then he now has Ebola. Should these people stay quarantined for 21 days to see if they get symptomatic? Because once they start getting symptomatic, they're now going to be in contact with their wife, their kids. Is that a good, should they have been doing that? Are they doing that now? So it doesn't spread, because now you have a whole new contact list that's going.
It is the safest way to make sure that you're taking care of anybody who could potentially transmit the disease. If you tell an individual, okay, if you start to have a fever, then you stay home, you go to the doctor, you do these certain things. But what is transmissible is blood and body fluids. So if that person knows that I don't share a cup or glass with anyone, if I have a bloody nose, I don't let anybody get in contact with that. If I can limit the activities that would transmit it to someone else, then I could go to do whatever it is that I do. If I worked in a restaurant or if I worked in healthcare, they're going to limit my ability to do that. That's just the smart thing to do, because you could potentially expose people. But to put them into their home, leave them in their home, isolated in their home, that's the safest thing.
With the Ebola saturated sheets and towels and stuff.
Well, and in Boise, there's a store that sells these respirators. I don't know if you heard about that or not.
Just the masks.
That they sold out.
They sold out, yeah. Are the people who are scrambling to get these, is that a waste of time?
Well, pretty much it is. It's not, this is blood and body fluids.
What about,
a respirator
what about
is going to keep you from getting an airborne infection.
Okay, so if the person who's infected with Ebola should sneeze or something, then this mask on somebody else might help?
Again, that's not the major way that you see Ebola being transmitted. It is the blood, because this is a hemorrhagic disease. People are bleeding, and that is the major way. But again, other body fluids, sweat, again,
projectile vomiting too, I guess.
Yeah, wow. Anything, and again, there's usually blood involved with that. And so the blood is the major way that this is transmitted. But again, we're looking at sweat and other body fluids. But it is not the main way that this is transmitted, through the air. If you want to have a respirator mask because you're afraid of respiratory type illnesses, enterovirus, respiratory. But if you're going to wear that mask, you're probably going to have to wear it 24/7. Anytime you're out in the public, you're going to have to wear that. Some other countries, like Japan, you'll see people in masks.
Yeah, you do.
It may be people who have a cold are wearing that mask out of courtesy to other people. They're limiting their exposure to other people. You don't see that in the United States.
No, you don't.
Rarely
you just come to work and go, I feel like horrible, but I'm here.
Yeah.
You're like, great, thank you.
We have this. Some people have this work ethic in America that even if you're sick, that's no excuse to stay home.
I'm like, please stay home. Don't spread it to everyone else.
That's one of the things that you need to do is, if you're sick, stay home when you're sick. Stay away from sick people. Wash your hands. Cover your cough. All of those things are going to go a long ways. It's what we try to drive home to nurses is universal precaution, or healthcare workers, universal precautions, so that everyone that you treat as if they are infectious. You take the precautions, the wearing of gloves, avoiding contact. If you're doing what we call cough generating or aerosolizing procedures, you wear those masks. Those are done for protection, and you do it all the time.
Coming up, we want to talk about the Enterovirus, and looks like we got some calls coming in. So, because the Enterovirus, it's already here, and we're going to see how serious that is, and if we should be more concerned about that than we are Ebola. We'll be right back with Cheryl Becker, who's a public health nurse here in Twin Falls, here on Top Story. 736-0300 is the number to call. 7360300 is the number to call here this morning on Top Story. Yesterday's $100 instant winning name is Michael Page.
Michael Page, congratulations.
And your $100 word of the day for today is candy.
Candy.
So you go to our website, newsradio1310.com, click on word of the day, go to that page, type in candy, listen Monday. If you hear your name Monday and you played the word today, you win $100.
Candy.
C-A-N-D-Y.
They're starting the Halloween theme a little early.
They really are.
They're going to run out by the time we get to Halloween.
We have Cheryl Becker with us, who's the local public health nurse, and we have a caller. Top Story, you're on the air with Cheryl Becker. Good morning.
Good morning. I heard the White House explanation on Ebola, but I want her actual opinion. I mean, does this thing spread like the common cold or flu?
No, it does not. You need more contact than that. Again, it's blood and body fluid. It is transmitted in these other countries more readily because of they don't have the healthcare infrastructure. They don't have the proper sewage facilities. It's a very basic country. You can see the dirt floor houses. They don't have the roads, the infrastructure that we do. And so you've seen on the news, they bring an individual in they think that is sick. They just dump them at the side of the street because they don't have enough facilities, the hospitals, doctors to care for them.
Okay, but is saliva, for instance, if somebody sneezes on you that has it?
Again, no, that is not the main way that we see Ebola being transmitted. Is more in contact with that individual's, mainly blood, but it's through the actual physical touching of that individual is usually what we're seeing. If it was more airborne, there would be more cases in these countries than there are now.
Okay.
That help?
Yes, that does. Thank you.
Okay, good. 7360300, the number to call. Top Story, you're on the air with Cheryl Becker.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I was wondering how long the disease stays in the bodily fluids alive before it's
safe to touch.
Well, for instance, I don't want to gross anybody out, but people sniff and spit and so forth, and then a truck lot. Sometimes you got to crawl underneath your truck, and you think that that's all dry and good, but what's the situation with those kind of bodily fluids?
How long does spit stay alive, Cheryl?
Okay. There's a wide variety of things out there that you can be exposed to. Bacteria, viruses, etc. Bacteria usually die when something dries. Viruses can remain alive for longer periods of time. It depends upon what the virus is. I've always said to people there's no little alarm clock that's sitting next to the blood or body fluids that goes off and the little light goes on and says it's green, it's fine to touch. You have to be not panic. Knowledge is power. Again, watching what it is you're touching. Wash your hands. If you're seeing something that, someone has spit on the ground, avoid it. Throw a paper, something over the top of it. If you have to touch something like that, go wash your hands. Put something between you and that.
Put a tarp down or something. You have to crawl under your truck.
Yeah. Put something between you and that body fluid so that you don't become involved with it. Just, again, like I say, knowledge is power. Washing your hands, avoiding contact with those kinds of things is what's going to keep you from becoming ill.
Now, as far as facilities, let's say we happen to have a case of that in Twin Falls. Is St. Luke's ready to handle something like that? Do they have the facilities?
And I don't know that. I'm not going to speak for St. Luke's, but most hospitals have what is called a negative flow room, an isolation room. And that room is set up so that if there is something communicable, that patient is in there, the air flows in one direction. It goes from the outside through that room, through some filters, so that it does not come back into contact with the rest of the people in the hospital. And that's what is in these hospitals that are caring for these Ebola patients, is that the air goes in one direction, does not ever come in contact with the rest of the patients in that. If we have a case of tuberculosis, that is where that patient is going to be put because the air will not come in contact with the rest of the patients. So to answer about.
Are nurses trained? Because we just see a headline: U.S. nurses say they are unprepared to handle Ebola patients. But you do have public health problems like tuberculosis, things like that. Are nurses trained in isolation rooms and when you have trouble like this? Because this is a troubling headline.
You receive training on how to handle an isolation patient. There is information out there. We'd be very happy to, get more information out to our hospitals. We do get information as information is updated, but we will get that information to them if they want that. You can go out to CDC's website. There is a specific section there on Ebola, and it does have information on healthcare workers, what you should do as a healthcare worker to protect yourself. If you are in one of these countries, there's very specific, you see them in the suits.
Yeah.
There's a specific way to put them on and a specific way to take them off. And if you don't know how to do that, there's training out there. You can, again, go to CDC's website. Tells you how to do those kinds of things.
So there's no reason a healthcare worker out there, if they don't feel like they're qualified and they should be, there's things they can do to get themselves up to speed.
Definitely. And like I say, go out to CDC's website.
We'll be right back with Cheryl Becker. 7360300, always the number to call. We're talking about Ebola. We're going to talk about the Enterovirus here for a few minutes, also with public health nurse Cheryl Becker. Before we get back to that, though, I just wanted to remind you, if you're looking for guns, if you're looking for camping supplies, if you're looking for woodworking stuff, fishing poles, tools, basically, if you're looking for anything that you think you might find in a pawn shop, then go to Canyon Pawn. That's what they do, and they do it so well. The Brando and I drove by there yesterday, and I saw the other street. They are on Shoshone and 3rd Avenue South. All right, right there on the corner. I think if they
just drive on Shoshone, they'll see it. They have a big flag out there.
You'll see a big flag, big sign on the front, right across from Will's Toyota. But anyway, for those of you who are just like that and you need an actual address to put into your GPS, that's what it is. Shoshone Street and 3rd Avenue South. That's where Canyon Pawn is. They're online at canyonpawn.com. You can give them a call if you're looking for something specific, 933-2600. But it'd be best if you just stopped in and said hi. Okay, so we've basically made the point now that the Ebola outbreak in Texas and the United States is not a panic situation for us.
It's not an outbreak in the United States.
No, we just have one. It's not an outbreak, but we do have an outbreak that's happening.
I gotcha. Okay. All right. So we have this case of Ebola, which is not, we're not in a panic situation. No. We're in America. We can handle this. It's not a huge deal.
Yes.
What about the Enterovirus then that is in Idaho? 4 people are dead from it. Should we be more concerned about that?
Should be more concerned about enterovirus than Ebola. Enterovirus is a respiratory infection, and it's just like the influenza that happens every single year. You need to protect yourself against this. There is no vaccine for the enterovirus. You need to, again, all of the wash your hands, cover your cough, stay home when you're sick, stay away from sick people, all of that comes into play here because there is no you don't have a vaccine, we don't have a medicine that we can give to you.
So there's really no cure then?
Cure is support. If it's a virus, we give you medications to support the person if they are ill with it. The people that are most at risk are like the asthmatic children. You see that in Colorado. There's a lot of children that have some kind of underlying condition, respiratory underlying condition. If you had asthma or cystic fibrosis or something like that, those individuals, if you get a respiratory infection of any kind, your lungs are already affected. They're not able to cope as well as a person who doesn't have that situation. If they get this infection, they are more likely to have severe symptoms.
Now, this has started small. It was just in a few states. Now it's, I think, in 43 states, I want to say. 4 kids have died. It might be more. I'm not sure. 4 kids have died. And now they're seeing these kids develop paralysis and not sure if this is going to happen. Have you seen this ever come to this level for this virus before?
Well, this virus has the potential. Enterovirus can cause those kinds of symptoms. Different strains of the enterovirus can cause the paralysis kind of symptoms. That's why it's so important if you have an infant, they can't really tell you that there's something wrong. But if you notice that your child is not moving appropriately, they aren't moving one arm or leg, get that child into the physician, get them into the hospital, because that is something that needs to have.
Because I think what's happening, I mean, it starts like as a cold, and then the parents don't realize how severe. Then they take them to the emergency room. Then they start getting paralysis. I don't think it starts with paralysis.
It doesn't start with paralysis.
Right.
But
so how do
you see that?
How do you differentiate? Because it could be too late. If it's just a cold, where I know parents are flocking to the ER, because I would too. You don't know the difference. What do you do? How long do you wait before you take them in?
You need to wait until they have a situation that is concerning to you. If they have a mild fever and they have just a cold kind of symptoms, you can manage that at home. If you see that weakness in one arm or leg, they're just not moving like they should. In an older child, they're saying, my arm, I can't move my arm like I used to. That is concerning, and that should go to the hospital. That should go to the doctor. You should be checking. If they have the severe respiratory symptoms, they are with an asthmatic child, the wheezing. If they're not able to move the air like they normally are, they're really having difficulty breathing, that needs to be into the doctor's office. If you've got an asthmatic child or you have asthma yourself, you know the point at which you need to get that child in. Most physicians with an asthmatic child will give you parameters that when you need to get that child in.
I'm going to see if we can get this caller in for the break. Top story, you're on the air. Good morning.
Good morning.
Two very quick things. Number one, if your kid can't move his arm or his leg or anything like that, you need to get him to the hospital anyway, because kids can have strokes too. The next thing is there's a really scary thing going on right now, this enterovirus thing. The anti-vaxxers are really globbing onto it, saying that this is a reason you shouldn't vaccinate your kids, because people that have been vaccinated have a tendency to catch this more than unvaccinated. They don't take into account that like 90% of people are vaccinated. Idaho actually has some of the lowest immunization rates in the country, and that's definitely, conspiracy weirdos and stuff like that.
Is that true that more people that are vaccinated are getting this?
No, I don't. There is nothing out there that
hang on to that.
substantiates
Let's talk about that when we come back here on Top Story. Final break for Cheryl Becker, and then she can go back to work. 7360300 is the number to call. Welcome back. We have Cheryl Becker with us here on Top Story. She's the public health nurse at the South Central District Health Department.
Is that right?
South Central Public Health District.
Thank you.
Okay, Public Health District. Okay.
We get it confused with about two other organizations constantly. We got a few words right. Yeah, just not in the right order.
Exactly. Okay, so what about immunizations? That's always a deal. Immunization probably wouldn't help with this particular enterovirus,
There
right?
is no immunization for this particular enterovirus, but there are vaccines for a number of vaccine-preventable diseases. The vaccine-preventable diseases, many people have not seen, don't remember. I've been here for so long, I've seen these diseases. I've seen more cases of measles than most people in this town. And the children are very sick with measles. They can have pneumonia, encephalitis. There are very serious complications with diseases like measles that people haven't seen, don't understand. We have done such a good job of preventing disease with these vaccines that people don't understand what is being prevented. Haemophilus influenza type B, or Hib, we used to get meningitis with that all the time. Now we don't see it at all. But we used to have, throughout the year, there'd be 3 cases diagnosed about within a couple of weeks of each other. And then we'd go a month or 2 and have another 3 cases. That just happened all the time until a vaccine came out. We don't see it. But there's a resurgence in cases of like Hib meningitis because people have gotten complacent. They have concerns, they believe legitimate concerns, but they have concerns, and so they have just stopped immunizing. We need to get the proper information into these individuals, answer the questions so that they can make an informed decision about vaccines. But there are very good reasons to immunize your child, because these vaccine preventable diseases are very, very serious.
Do you know how many cases of Enterovirus 68 we've had in Idaho right now?
I don't. I'd have to go back and look, but
we haven't had any deaths, have we?
I have no knowledge of any deaths.
Okay.
We may have more cases than have been reported. This infection is not reportable in Idaho, but there may be cases that are not tested. So there could be cases out there that have not been reported, and more than likely are cases out there that have not been reported. There's a range of illness with this particular infection. A person may have a mild cold, up to being very seriously ill in the hospital, even death.
Yeah.
So there's a range of illness. There could be people out there who think they have a cold that actually have this particular infection.
So if your child has a cold and you send him to school, what should or should you not at this point? Because you don't know at this point, is it this or is it not? Because obviously this must be how it's spreading, because how are all these kids getting it? Should you just keep your child home the minute you see symptoms of a cold, just to be safe, so he doesn't spread it to someone else?
I think at any given day in the school, you'll find numbers of cases of children with colds. We need to teach these children to prevent transmission to other. Cover your cough, cover your sneeze, wash your hands.
Yeah, but they're kids.
They're kids.
They
that's
eat
just
glue. Come on.
They're kids, yes. But the teachers can say, okay, we're going to lunch. Everybody go wash your hands.
Is that realistic, though, to stop this? Because it's not just the common cold. I mean, it is. Kids are dying. Kids are getting paralyzed. Kids are being hospitalized. Like, seriously, should parents take a stronger threshold to keep their children home?
That every parent needs to decide that. It would help if you kept your ill child home. One of the things that really bothers me, and there's schools that do this, the perfect attendance award.
Yeah.
And the person who graduates from high school and says, I had perfect attendance from kindergarten through 12th grade. I never missed a day.
And then they don't have to take final exams.
I can guarantee you that person has come to school sick and has spread the wealth with other people in the classroom. We need to be smart about this. If you've got a child that has a fever, they need to stay home. Okay. If they're coughing and sneezing and doing that just continually, that child needs to stay home, because they're going to be disrupting the class. They're going to be giving it to everybody else in the classroom.
Right. And who wants to be going to school or doing anything when you're sick anyway?
Yeah, so we need to be careful about this. We need to react appropriately to these kinds of things. And I know that there are parents out there that don't have someone who can stay home with their first grader.
Right.
So they send them to school because they have to work. They don't have time off of work. It's a serious problem. I don't have an answer, but what I do know is that we need to at least try to instill in the children how to keep from infecting other people. Wash your hands, and I know that we're doing this with school children, teaching them the appropriate way to wash your hands, cover your cough.
But even if they switch desks, I know we used to go to different classrooms. How long can the virus stay on the desk? And now you've washed your hands, you come back, and now this, you've got it on the desk. You know what I'm saying? Like, at some point.
And we're trying to tell people, keep your hands away from your face. That's a hard thing to do. I think everybody probably out there that's listening to the radio, if I say keep your hands away from your face, the first thing you're going to do is scratch your nose.
Touch your face.
That's right.
Yeah. If you've ever taught a cooking class with kids, they always put their hands on their face.
Cheryl, we're out of time. Thank you very much for your time today.
Appreciate you coming in.
Yeah, we'll have you back. Here's the Huckabee Report. You can hear the Huckabee Report each weekday at this time, brought to you exclusively by Waddell & Reed. Laura Nelson, Josh Funk, and Steve Stanger are the financial advisors, and the number is 736-6563.
That's right.
I want to thank Cheryl Becker again. She's such a wealth of knowledge in this line. She's been in this work for, 34 years?
Yeah.
Less 10 days?
Yeah.
So...
She's so precise.
I played the organ for her and Dennis when they got married 34 years ago, or however many years ago.
Were you the lucky charm?
I guess must have been. Huh?
Must have been.
It's lasted all these years. At any rate.
Well, you know what? These are serious situations. Yeah. There's a lot of misinformation out there. The Enterovirus 68, if I had a child, I'd be freaking out right now. There's
especially
nothing,
if you had one
and
with
it's
asthma.
now crossing across the country.
Yep.
Kids are dying. Kids are getting paralyzed. So you know what? You start seeing something like that. First of all, I say keep your kid home, and secondly, if it starts getting bad, take him to the hospital immediately.
Sure, absolutely.
You know.
Want to mention, too, some of the things that really get bad around here is the manure situation of some of the larger feedlots and dairy operations. But
what a transition.
Not to worry. There's no immunization for that, but there is something you can do about it. It's called the Lowen Honey Loader from Stanley and Company. And this machine is incredible because there's really no kind of manure that it can't load up and carry off, okay? And you can do it quickly. So you can get a hold of Pat Hartzell with Stanley and Company. He can fix it up so you can see one of these in operation before you make that final decision to think, you know what, I need one of those. I'm going to buy one. And Pat's the guy who not only can set you up so you can see one in operation, he can sell you one. And his personal cell number is 280-1167. That's 280-1167. That's Pat Hartzell with Stanley and Company.
I still think they should do a marketing thing where they race someone to do it manually and one at 7 miles an hour.
Yeah.
I think that would be great.
That'd
be really interesting, I think.
They could do that.
That'd be something I'd want to watch.
Have barbecued hamburgers and hot dogs and, come on out and see the race. Hey, tomorrow at the Prime Bridge is Bras Across the Canyon 2014. Starts at noon. It'll be going until about 3 o'clock. This is sponsored by Arlo G. Lott Trucking Company, also by the South Central Public Health District, also by Glanbia, and also free food from Chick-fil-A. We just had Bill Esteta in a while ago to talk about that. You decorate a bra, bring it out. Donations will go to the local Wellness Tree Community Clinic. It's a local charity. 100% of the donations will go there to help people with no medical insurance or underinsured, to help them with breast cancer screening and things like that. So it's going to be a lot of fun. The weather's going to be great. We'll see you out there at noon tomorrow, and we're just going to have a good time. I'll be the one with the camera slung around my neck, okay?
Well, I hope it goes well. I'll be thinking of you, but I will not be there.
All right.
Happy Yom Kippur.
Absolutely. And we'll see you Monday if we don't see you tomorrow right here on Top Story. Goodbye, Jill.
Bye, Cal.